But you've got quite a finely scripted show, though, haven't you?
Yes, but it's it's true, and that's the reason. That's what takes the time, is getting that script right and rereading it and going, no, that's not quite right, or I've repeated myself.
Yeah.
And then so the script takes an extortionate amount of time.
Yeah.
And the reading and the research and stuff.
Yeah.
And then of course the recording piece takes the tiny bit. And of course I don't have a dedicated studio facility
Right.
at home, so it's in a spare room. It's quite echoey. So I'm there, leaning over the microphone. Someone gave me a hint that stick a carpet tile under the mic, for example. Makes a huge. All this kind of new, because I'm fairly new at this.
No, exactly.
All this kind of new hints and tips, and people saying, well, you should maybe bolt sponge mattresses to the walls and all this kind of stuff, deaden the sound.
Egg cartons.
Exactly. And unfortunately, because the house is quite old as well, I have to make sure that no one else is going to do anything whilst I'm recording. So don't turn the washing machine on, don't turn the dishwasher on, and if one of the dogs barks, and that, oh God, please stop. So it's all that kind of.
Yeah.
All that kind of fun stuff, really.
Exactly. But that adds to the character, I think.
Absolutely, yeah.
I guess, John, what about you? I know you've sort of had a hiatus recently from podcasting.
Yeah.
What sort of schedule, how much sort of effort do you put into your shows?
It depends. I've tried just about every type of approach to podcasting and still do adopt all of them.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there is any one way to podcast.
Yeah.
There are, I do one research-based show. Well, in fact, the interview show I do is also research-based because I think it's important to understand who you're talking to.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to take that time and effort to understand them, and it helps to relax a person before you interview them if you know a fair bit about them.
Exactly.
And also helps you ask better questions.
Yeah.
But and the other stuff, which is much more dealing with fact, for example, or fact within a certain way of looking at it, because facts can be interpreted in numerous ways.
Yeah.
It very much depends on the person's belief system. But I feel it's important to do plenty of research there. So I'll often spend an inordinate amount of time researching for particular shows. Or, if you're audio blogging or just putting together something on the fly, you literally can just pick up a cheap mic on a small portable device and just say whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
It isn't necessary. It very much depends on what you're looking to do. Or if you're improvising with a group of people, you'd say, "Shall we record this?"
Yeah.
There's no need to prepare that necessarily because you're capturing the moment.
Yeah.
So I think I've adopted every kind of approach. Generally, with the two shows that I produce, mainly I script one of them heavily because I don't want to give out misleading facts or statistics. And the other one I will spend time reading and researching the person, and then I allow the conversation to evolve as naturally as possible. So
Right.
that's kind of my approach generally. But as I say, I think you need to be flexible and not to get too hung up on the technical side of podcasting, or even over-researching or over-worrying about what you're going to do before you record, because I think for a lot of people that could be a barrier, and I would encourage people not to perceive that. It's simply expressing what you know, what you're interested in, what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
That's what's great about podcasting. You don't have to bring all that baggage with you
No,
necessarily.
exactly. It's back to that cliche of content is king. If you've got great content, then actually, the fact that it is BBC radio quality is kind of irrelevant. Great content,
It's
people
nice.
are listening. It's nice if you can get it. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I've got to confess some of my podcasting sins, but Pete, now I guess you're the music podcaster of the group.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to look at it and say, okay, music podcasting, most of your content is provided for you.
Yeah.
Which is it is in some ways provided for you, because obviously you're going to have those pieces, and it's going to fill an awful lot of your airtime.
Yeah.
But to me, I think if my wife had realised when she bought me the iPod 2 years ago that just how much time I would spend researching the music, she probably wouldn't have bought it for me. So, but then again, she's given me something that has really infused me. So it does require an awful lot of my time, and I do go back most evenings and just check for whatever has come out in terms of music. But for me, it's not just about playing what's available. This is the difference. Yeah. It's like your radio 2, it's whatever's on the payola or whatever's out there available. Whereas I play what I want.
Yeah.
I'm the arbiter of what I want. And it was uphill to start off with, getting that information, getting that sort of music that I wanted to do and play. Now there's so much more out there, and also now I've got so many connections with different artists. Yeah. They send stuff to me, as soon as they finished it. Have a listen to this. Tell me what you think. Yeah. And I get that sort of feedback loop. That's brilliant. Yeah. So I see new bands coming along, giving me music that they say, "What do you think of this?" And you can have honest feedback, and it helps them.
Yeah.
And it's really good. So for me, it's good. But in terms of delivery, I've got one that I do twice a week.
Yeah.
And I do it twice a week because I've got so much music to get out there, and I want to get it out there. That's the purpose of the exercise. But how do I do it? On a Saturday morning, I'll set aside a couple of hours and I'll record 2 podcasts back to back. One goes out that day, one goes out later.
Yeah.
And it's all about. To me, it's important to keep the regularity, and the regularity is where the customer, the listener is always asking, you know, when's you missed one? What happened? You know,
exactly.
Well, I had a cold. You know, I'm sorry. You know, or sometimes I carry on when I've got a cold, and I just croak my way through it because I can.
You're a martyr to the cause.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think having that heartbeat of release is really important because I think people get used to the momentum of that. I guess the question I've got for you is, how do you deal with the licensing side of the music? I mean, there's the whole PodSafe music thing.
That's easy in the sense these days it's easier because the PodSafe Music Network and other places. If you see a piece of music and you want to play it and they're assigned to a label, there's no way you can play that piece of music. You've got the artist has got to give that the rights out to you as a podcaster to play it. Various sites do it. The PodSafe Music Network is one of them. There's lots of others that are doing it out there. And of course, artists, you can play artists before they make it big, before they get anywhere. But as soon as they become big, you have the potential of they could come back to you and say, right, I want my PRS fee now, which is a difficulty. But you know, so far it hasn't happened. Let's keep it that way.
Okay. Let's talk about some of the challenges in podcasting, and if we talk in 2 levels, one in the challenges in how difficult it is on a personal level to do, but secondly more broadly in terms of it as a medium, what are the challenges that podcasting faces? Because, John, let's talk to you about the latter of those, which is about, so podcasting is out there as a medium, people see it as a citizen journalism sort of activity. Some of the media struggles to take it seriously. What do you think are the challenges that podcasting faces in that broader sense?
That's a tough question. In terms of the mainstream media, given that so many people within the mainstream media are now effectively becoming exponents of that because they're joining the revolution, if you will, in terms of they're releasing their content in the same places. I mean, I release my content in the same place that the BBC does, or Channel 4, you know, through iTunes or podcasters. Podcatcher technology. So, I mean, you know, when I went through my Nokia phone, I found my podcast in there. I didn't even know it was going to be in there. But so, you know, you turn up in those same places. I think, as I say, the challenges for individual podcasters very much depend on what that podcaster wants to achieve. You don't have to achieve anything with podcasting other than communicating with the group of people that you're interested in talking to and who are interested in listening to you. If you want to develop a more professional approach to either your audio or to what kind of content you produce, then you obviously learn from the available sort of pool of talent and expertise that's out there, and there is plenty of that in the mainstream media. But there's also plenty of that on the margins as well, where people come in with ideas and say, well, we're going to do this, and nobody else has really done that, and suddenly you have a new format, or you have a way of doing things, a style and approach that other people want to adopt. And so, you know, I think the challenges are to stay innovative, to keep that freshness, to keep the sense of community developing, so that people don't become sort of jaded, because I think the community that lead, you know, the early adopter community often tend to get bored. And they'll move on before the rest of the public have fully cottoned on. So with podcasting, it was like, well, we've got podcasting, we've done it. Now look, there's Twitter and video blogging and you know, a Seismic or whatever this week is, and they're all signing up for their alpha accounts, and it diffuses that attention. But I think with podcasting, the challenge is for those people who want to take it forward to keep balancing, you know, the needs that they have to produce their own shows and to raise that quality and to grow in the way that they want to, and also to keep the sense of community alive, because I think that's one of the most valuable things. It's like everybody as a podcaster is their own little community, but when you bring those together, you get something that's quite remarkable in its own way.
No, absolutely.